Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So I have got a very special guest with me today, Shaz from at Blonde Tea Party. I didn't need to say that, did I? From at. I mean, Blonde Tea Party. Shaz is a YouTuber, very successful YouTuber. I always say that because you are.
I don't think I am at all.
So Shaz's channel is all about products, makeup, get ready with me. She does general chats. She has huge passion for mental health, and I've known Shaz for a few years. I met Shaz online, from her YouTube channel, and yeah, we've known each other for a while, and ever since then we've been just sort of having the odd video call because we like to, have a chat, have a moan, have a rant, put the world to right, and just, we just like to chat, don't we? It makes us feel better.
Yeah,
we do. So I'm going to ask you firstly, how have you been recently?
I've been good.
Good.
I've been well.
Had any blips? Any moments?
It's usually probably not first thing in the morning. I'll go on my walk. It's always at the beginning of my walk, and I have a lot to say to myself on the beginning of a walk, and I kind of process things that happened the day before or on the weekend or the conversations or something that's bothered me. And then by 15 minutes, I've kind of like relaxed into the walk, and I've got over the feelings. Oh, someone's hoovering now.
Is that somebody hoovering?
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh dear. So I'll like this morning I'll go, I feel really anxious. Why do I feel so anxious? Oh, what's bothering me? Oh, something's bothering me. And then I just think, okay, fine, I'll just keep walking. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, I've stopped thinking. And I love that with a walk. But
this is the reality, isn't it? Of when you want to do a call and you want it silent.
And everyone's making noise.
Yeah, everyone's making noise. Yeah, I just need my next door neighbour to start banging now.
No, oh God. But then other than that, I feel fine.
I'm the same. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Literally, before we sort of, we carry on, just for whoever's watching, like I said, we're going with the flow. We're just talking about sort of, just mental health as a whole. So we're just going to whatever comes up, comes up. We've got a few topics, like I said. And this is what we do, because a lot of the things that, Shaz and I do in our lives are kind of similar. It's quite relatable, and that's why, we get on really well, and we just enjoy sort of each other's content, really. I'm the same. I would say mornings are the worst for me. It's in thoughts. They've been a little bit better recently, and I think it's probably just because of I do a lot of self-help, as you know. So I'm better at sort of processing the thoughts. And actually, it's very common that you wake up and you're just full of negativity. I mean, it's very common. But the thing to do is to deal with it. So, acknowledge it. Not try and fight it, which I used to do because it just makes it worse. So let them be, it's letting them be there, processing it, but at the same time being as optimistic as you can. Not so much telling yourself, oh, come on, be positive.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Be positive as you can, but to have a whole day of positivity, it doesn't really happen. Probably once in a blue moon, yes. But there's going to be something that's going to knock you a bit. So I guess it's going through those thoughts that you can kind of it's almost like you're building up a little bit of resilience, isn't it? And it's like telling yourself, okay, I'm thinking like this. You know, how can I be optimistic about it? How can I see it in a different way? Remind yourself the day is going to be okay. It's going to be fine. If it's not, how am I going to deal with it? So that's what I tend to do most mornings. I will get mornings where the negativity will just, it's just being an, you know what, I'm not going to say. And it will not leave me alone. And you know, there are times where it will stay with me all day.
Yeah.
But that is generally when I'm sort of more in that kind of, I suppose you could say, more of a dark hole where you feel like you can't get out of it. But then I know that that's going to take longer to get out of that. It's going to take a few more days. So again, I kind of try and accept that. I don't like being in that, that way. And it's only been sort of, it was recent actually. I had a week, really weird week, where there was a few days where I just couldn't get out this kind of negative, you know, thought process, and it was just there all the time. And it's that same with me. It's the same thoughts of what's the point kind of thing, or it's self-doubt, and you know, I was wanting to kind of do things, but my brain was saying, why bother? Why? You know, what are you going to get out of it? You know, and there were times where I had to just really push myself to sort of do the things I normally do, because I do like a routine. I'm not going to lie. I always kind of kidded myself and thought, oh no, I don't do routine. You know, that's not anything. I like things to be really different every day.
Yeah.
But actually, I do like a routine. But then I don't mind there being different, you know, different things in the routine that I need that routine, because I find, I don't know if you're the same, but if the routine is, you know, not there, like, you know, it throws you.
Yeah. I also find that, like, with certain feelings that they always pass. So I think to myself, okay, I know I'm feeling like super on edge, but it'll pass. And that kind of gives me a bit of comfort, knowing that I'm not going to feel like that forever. And I kind of keep that in my mind. And the other thing I have is, it's the build up to something, the build up to anything. Like, you know, for example, I'm taking my dog regularly to see this dog sitter, to get him used to the dog sitter. And I see her every other week. I drive myself into a frenzy the day before, and I'm like, I'm dreading this. I hate driving up there. I hate going there. I hate taking him out. I hate leaving for the, you know, but once I do it, it's fine. Once I'm doing it, it's fine. I get there, it's fine. She's lovely. I talk to her. I go and get a coffee. I come back and it's been fine. It's just the thinking about it. And that's with anything. The thinking about it makes me not want to do anything. Oh, going to an event, I don't want to go. Meeting up with somebody, I don't want to do it. But once I do it, I'm fine. So now I've sort of trained myself to say, it's the thinking that's bothering you. And I find, like, when I start doing something, I feel so much better. It's when I'm like stagnant and not doing anything and just sitting and thinking.
Oh, you froze then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Driving somewhere, you're like, I want to go up and see my mum. Oh, but I've got to drive up there and there'll be traffic. And what if I get stuck? And but then there might not be any traffic, and you might get there in time and have a nice time.
Yeah, it's thinking of the sort of almost the worst case scenario, which I guess is in a way is a good thing, because then you're kind of prepared for it. But they say, don't they?
Yeah. Got you back.
I'm back. That'll be the Wi-Fi probably. Yeah. So it's thinking of the worst case scenario, which means in a way it's kind of good, because it kind of prepares you for the worst case, you know, scenario and how you sort of deal with that. I've lost a train of thought now. It's because it froze.
We were driving somewhere, thinking about, like, worrying
Oh,
about.
that's what I was going to say. So it's they say, don't they? It's your thoughts determine your action, which and it does. But I'm exactly the same. With a lot of things. I've always been like that since young. I've always wondered why I was like that. I will mention sort of something about from being a child a bit later on, because I think that just can determine a lot of things for us as we get older as well. But yeah, just since being young, I've always kind of, I guess, been that kind of a worrier, just a natural sort of worrier. And I know there's some people that kind of, they don't get it. They're like, well, why and how are you worrying so much? And it's like, well, I can't really explain why. It's obviously the brain that's doing it. I mean, you say, and I have researched, into sort of things like this where people that are natural worriers, there's something to do with their brain chemicals and how it's sort of developed, or what you were kind of born with, and I was always told, especially as a child, and it used to bother me a lot, and I think it's probably stayed with me today. I mean, I'm a lot better than I was, because I think you just do as you get older, you kind of get wiser and all that. But I was always told, when I was younger, God, you worry too much, Michael. You're always worrying, and it used to kind of, in a way, hurt my feelings, because it was almost like they were saying, just get a grip and get on with it. But that wasn't me. And it used to just really, it almost used to make me kind of want to do things kind of less then. I'm not blaming anyone that said that to me for,
but
not.
it's something you pick up as a child, isn't it? And then you think, oh, is that wrong then to worry? Is that not an accepted behavior sort of thing?
Yeah, and it kind of knocks your confidence, doesn't it? And I mean, if you're not a very confident person anyway, because I think when you're young, it's almost like you're on a mission, aren't you, to kind of build your confidence, because I guess you see other kids that are confident, and you kind of think, oh, I want to be like them. They don't care, and they're so confident, and gobby, and you always get the gobby ones, the ones that are confident, don't care, and it's like, oh, I want to be like them. But if you're naturally not like that, you can't force it on you.
No.
So yeah.
And that's like that sort of ties into like fitting in, fitting in with people and other people's friends, and maybe your partner's friends and things like that. And I always feel just so greatly misunderstood. And when I feel misunderstood, I'll close up like a clam, because I don't have the energy to prove to this person what I am. Either you get me or you don't get me, or do you know what I mean? Or ask questions. But I find it very difficult to sort of fit in with certain people. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I feel like
it makes sense.
People have a preconceived idea about you because you like beauty and makeup and this and that. I don't know whether it's like they think you're just dense or shallow or whatever, but it's like, that's your interests might be, I don't know, collecting ornaments. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't understand it. But my interest is this. And if you sort of sit and go, like, every time I meet like other people's friends, they'll be like, oh, I made sure my makeup's really good today. Oh, I knew I was meeting you. Oh, and I'm like, I'm not the makeup police. And, and I'm not going to be like, oh, I find it really weird, and they always do this.
Frozen again. Ooh. Sorry, everybody. We've frozen there for a minute. Oh, are we going to be back or not? I don't know if it's Shaz's internet or my internet. What is going on? Let me just see if it...
Back.
You're back, yes. What happened there? What's going on? Oh my God, honestly, like...
Right.
You plan these things, don't you? You think, right, we want it all to be really perfect and great and stream really well. I thought, I'll use this StreamYard thing because it is good. It is good.
Yeah.
I think
the internet totally went off. I had to re-click it.
Oh, I see. Right. I was like, oh, she just left. She's like, she's just gone.
It's my internet.
Right. So I did pause the recording.
Oh, excellent. So it's not going to just be like a blank space.
Oh, no. It's pretty good, actually. I did pause it. So, yeah, I'm obviously re-recording now. So sorry about that, anyone that's watching. But that's just, that's how it goes. This is what happens. Yeah. So you were talking about... So you're talking about like...
Oh, yeah, the makeup. Oh, don't look at my makeup. Yeah. Oh, and I'm just like, I wasn't. And I'm not like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to...
And I just think, or sorry, I keep interrupting you. Or
oh, no.
They're like, tell me what the best makeup is. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean what's the best makeup? What, foundation? What, eyeshadow? I mean, there's categories, there's brands. There's not just one best makeup. I'm like, I don't know what you're looking for.
It's really hard, isn't it? It's really, and sometimes, I mean, it's kind of like you think, well, I feel honored that you're asking, but it's actually a little bit annoying. It's like you said, there's so many different things. And, again, I can relate to that being, hairdresser myself. Like when, it was more so when I used to work in the salons that I worked at. And say if I saw like, a client out and about, not within the salon setting, it would happen in the salon as well, but I'd be out and about, and someone would see me and then they'd be like, oh, don't look at my hair. Oh, you know what I mean? They'd be like mortified. They'd be like, oh, my hair's not looking good today. Don't look at it. And I'd be like, it's fine, honestly. Or I would get, say, I don't know, I'd get a random stranger, come up to me. Are you Michael works at, the salon? I'd be like, yeah. They'd be like, oh, I've heard so much about you. I know, I'd love you to do my hair. And then they'd be like, what do you think you could do for me? What do you think would... And I'm like, oh my God, really? I'm trying to do my shopping here, love. I'm trying to, pick out some apples and you're asking me about what you want me to do to your hair. And I would feel honored, but at the same time, I'd be like, can you just kind of leave me? Because I'm trying to focus on doing this.
We can discuss it.
Make an appointment. Yeah. But I mean, it used to happen in the salon. I'd have my regular clients and they, quite often they'd walk in and be like, oh my God, just don't look at the state of me. I'm not looking great today or whatever.
Yeah.
And I used to say, you look fine. I'm not judging you. Yeah. Or, I've not washed my hair. And I'm like, but that's what you're here for. You're having a cut and blow dry. So I'm going to give you hair wash. I said, I'll give it a good scrubbing and you'll feel loads better. And they're like, yeah, that's what I need. It's like, they say like, oh, my hair's really greasy. Don't look at it. And I'm like, well, I'm looking at it because you've just pointed it out. Yeah. And I'm like, it's fine, honestly. But I guess we're the same, aren't we? And this is where I suppose it comes to the subject of kind of judgment.
I think when you're in the creative industry and the people that you're meeting are not in the creative industry, so they're in corporate, then it's very hard to explain what you do because they just think, This is what I always get. YouTube. Oh, well, how do you make your money that way then? I don't understand. How do you make your money? And you're just like, first of all, I don't make a lot of money doing it. But why do I need to? And then I sit there explaining it. Well, you know, it clicks per ad, and you get a click, and then you get an ad, and people click on it, and I'm just like, how do you make your money? You know?
I know, it's like, I don't know, it's quite a personal question, isn't it? Like, and it'll always be, you know, it is generally something like, say, you know, doing a YouTube channel. This is where a lot of people make the mistake of, you know, they say, oh, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel because I'm going to earn loads of money. And initially, when, you know, before like starting the channel of mum and myself, okay, yeah, I did think about, oh yeah, you know, eventually once we've got the subscribers, we can monetize it. That's, you know, that's fine, but it's also irrelevant because I know that you don't really earn as much as you kind of think. I mean, it helps, yes, you know, it does help that little bit extra. But then I thought, well, you know, the reason why I want to do it is because the first thing was, I thought, right, so it'll be memories to look back on, you know, because it is like a video diary, isn't it, that you can kind of pretty much keep forever.
Yeah.
So I thought that's good for that. You know, I've always been close to my mum. I've always, you know, still am really close to her, and she actually doesn't mind, you know, being on camera, which is she's also got literally same interests in myself. So, you know, like with the mental health thing, because she's also, you know, back in her sort of the early days, she sort of went through that herself, so she can relate. She's a lot better now, which is great, but she knows what it was like, you know, what it is like. So, you know, and it was just to have a bit of fun with it, and it's like to kind of, you know, provide a bit of entertainment to others. And I also noticed that, especially on like talk about TikTok, it's quite a popular thing now where you get it's generally like grandma and granddaughter or grandson do things together, you know, on there, and people love it. Or it is, you know, mother and son, or you know, son and dad, or dad and daughter, you know, and people love it. They just do. Because I think, you know, again, it's relatable. Or if it's for, you know, for anyone that's watching that's not in that position, you know, that fortunate position to have that close bond, they still enjoy it, you know, because it gives them a sense, it makes them feel, I guess, you know, a bit, you know, warm inside. It's like comforting. Because, you know, I've had a couple of comments, you know, on our videos saying, I love that bond that you and your mum have, and I wish that I had that, you know, with my mum, or, you know, with my family members. And it's like, it's a shame, isn't it? And I never know really what to say to that. I generally just, oh, thank you so much. You know, we've always been close. So yeah, it's, and again, it's that whole, you get that question, don't you? Well, if you're, you know, if you do, you know, even if you're just doing it as like a side project or hobby, you know, which a lot of people do, some will do it as a full-time thing, which is fine. I think, you know, it's brilliant. But again, it's that whenever I get asked, it's not so much, well, how much do you get, that it's like, well, you know, do you earn money from it? And I'm like, well, I'm like, you can eventually. It's not straight away, because you see it's ticking over in the head as if to say, oh, well, if I start a channel, then that means that I'll start earning money. But they think it's straight away, and I'm like, you've got to build up first. You've got to get the, you know, the subscribers. And even then, it depends on views, how long they're watching for. Not so much. It's not really to do with how many subscribers you've got. It's generally views, isn't it? And you know, how long they're watching your videos. And, you know, it's all to do with kind of the algorithm, which that's another subject on its own. Oh my God. The algorithm is just, it's awful. I don't know. I just find that, especially now, I don't know what it was like for you when you first started, because you've done it for a long time, but like when you start something now, anything new, anywhere, TikTok, you know, YouTube, it's really hard to get that, you know, that following.
Yeah. It was so much easier like 10 years ago. Like,
I was going to say,
now, if I was to start it now, YouTube now, and I hadn't done it before, my God, I wouldn't get anywhere. I mean, and because to think that I've been doing this for like 12 years and I'm still at like 7,000 subscribers, right? And you've got other people that start their channel and they've got like 10,000 subscribers. And you're like, I've done like 500 million videos for God knows how many years. You know what I mean? So it just, I don't know. It just depends.
I think it really depends on the algorithm, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I only film what I want to film. I'm not going to, you know, just film.
You're not going to have a schedule as such.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, same here. I kind of thought to myself, I don't really want to kind of have a schedule. You know, there are a lot of YouTubers that say, oh, you know, I upload every, you know, Friday or Thursday or whatever, or twice a week. And that's fine, you know, if you know you can kind of stick to that. But and they're normally the ones that do it as an actual job. So you've got to do it. I mean, you've got to stick to it. But like, you know, like for us, we just think it fits best with us when we're kind of, you know, we feel like doing it. Because there's nothing worse doing a video, is there, where you're really not in the mood and it might come out okay, but for you, you're like, God, that was rubbish.
Yeah, I've done that so many times. I'm like, it's rubbish.
Not posting this. I'm not posting. Yeah. But it actually talking about like not wanting to post because you think, oh, that was rubbish. Because you were reluctant to post in your McDonald's video, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what? It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was just so fun to watch. It really was. Now, to you, you were probably thinking, oh my God, no, I'm not posting that. Who wants to watch it? But you'll be surprised who will watch that kind of thing.
I got this comment and this man was like, you need to DW40 your windows. And I was like, oh,
oh yeah, your squeaky window. Yeah, your squeaky window.
Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, so embarrassing. Yeah,
but that it adds to it though. I like that. It's being real, you know. It's not, you know, it's not being fully kind of prepared and just going with it.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you're too prepared, then things go more wrong, you know.
Exactly. But I love watching people's McDonald's drive-throughs or Costa drive-throughs and let's get all the drinks. I love it.
Yeah. Same here. Just, it's, you know, general life stuff, you know. I'm not into the, I don't know, how can I put it? The ones that are too kind of, you know, forced. That are too, you know, the YouTubers that are too over the top, you know, where you think you really are putting it on for the camera. You know, and each to their own, that's fine. It's a kind of a way of getting attention, but it just grates on me. I can't deal with it. So yeah, I would definitely say, it's all about the algorithm. And I think as well, just literally all social media platforms are so saturated now.
Yeah.
You know, with people, and it's becoming more and more and more. There's like no room left. Do you know what I mean? So I can imagine it is hard for these platforms to kind of, you know, get people, you know, rolling and do you know, like, you know, randomly trying to pick everybody if they can, you know, it's so, but I mean, I'm not fussed about that part of it. I kind of used to be, and there are times where, especially like, you know, TikTok's the app to be on, And I'll come across some profiles and I'll see some videos on there. And I think, you're not that entertaining. But then they've got like 125,000, followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I'm like, who is watching you? I can't stand you. Who's watching you?
Yeah.
Like everybody I can't stand has like the most followers ever. Yeah. And I'll try and watch them. I'm like, no, I cannot do it.
You cannot do it. Yeah. And then, there's people like us, that sort of do the relatable stuff. And it's like, you have people that like you. But it's always us. And especially when you're starting out new, it's always us, the genuine, real ones that get these comments from people, where they're judging you straight off, off the bat, and they're saying things and you're like, really? I mean, that I did have one comment on one of my TikTok videos saying, basically, God, you do moan a lot, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do actually. I do moan a lot. But then I'm like, majority of the TikTokers that I see are all the same as well, moaning, but I actually quite enjoy those videos.
Me too.
They make me laugh. And it's like, and you see what comments they've got, and people are like, oh my God, I love you, and you're like a breath of fresh air, and I love your moans and your rants. And me, I get somebody complaining at me for moaning. And then I'm like, oh, shall I do different things and then try and be really, as positive as I can? And I'm like, well, no, because I'll do that if I feel positive. If I don't feel positive, then I'm not. So, and I just think, well, if you don't want to follow me, don't. But the person that commented, it's funny because like they said that. I don't know if they meant it in a like maybe a sarcastic way or whatever, but the comments they sort of left recently have been actually quite, kind. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll let you off then.
I think it's when you reply to them. They're so shocked. They're like, oh. Like, if I get a comment that I don't like and I'll say something back, they're like, oh, yeah, oh, no, absolutely. I didn't mean anything by it, sort of thing. Because they're not expecting to reply.
Yeah, because I did reply.
There's one comment, it was so bizarre about, makeup. And she was like, well, if you watch Mary Greenwell's video of Princess Diana's makeup on her wedding day, you'll see that she did not use bronzer. So you really don't need to be wearing bronzer, and men don't like it. And I was like, okay, if I want to wear bronzer, I will. And I'm not wearing it because I think men like it or don't like it. And she didn't say anything back. I was like, I don't really care whether I'm wearing bronzer or not. Well, men don't like a lot of makeup. And I was like, oh my goodness.
I love it when women wear bronzer. Oh, yeah, men wear it, so I wear it. But I personally, I think it looks better when you've got bronzer on, because it gives you that bit of a glow, and it kind of sculpts your face more, and just makes you look a little bit more healthy, doesn't it, really?
And I was like, but there's no rule. Just because, this is the other thing that gets me. People with the makeup artists, their makeup is editorial most of the time. It's editorial. It's for the runway. It's for magazines. It's for TV. So it's completely different to day-to-day life. So when people go on and go, oh, I'm not a makeup artist. This is just how I do my makeup. It's like, well, thank goodness you're not, because I've had makeup artists do my makeup and I've hated it because they always do like little dots or just put a little bit of concealer here. And I'm like, you've put nothing on my face.
Yeah.
Oh.
Slap it on.
Yeah.
Get it on.
The way you do your makeup is like the best you could ever do it. No makeup artist is, whatever they do, it's going to be completely different. It's a completely different thing, but there's no telling some people.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, I've always had a fascination with makeup myself, and there was a point where I thought I'd maybe quite like to be a makeup artist, and I've done people's makeup in the past, but there is always that worry of like, are they going to like what I've done, kind of thing.
Yes.
And I've always been told they've liked it, but again, like you said, if there's somebody that does their own and like what they do for themselves, whatever you do for them is going to be a little bit different, and they are going to see it differently. So maybe they're going to be a little bit like, yeah, there's something I'm not quite keen on, but it's fine. So yeah, and this is because I mean I've done makeup for like the odd sort of wedding because of obviously, you know, being able to kind of do the hair. So I've kind of incorporated sort of the makeup, because then for the person it's like, well, it's 2 in 1 then basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've always been really happy to do it, but then I got to a point where I just thought I can't deal with the pressure anymore. It would, like you said, it's that build up of like the thoughts, and I hope it's going to go okay, and I hope I'm going to have enough time, and you know, what's it going to be like when we're there? And every time I've done a wedding, it's literally 9 weddings out of 10 have always been like crazy, people running around and frantic, and I can't work in that.
No,
because it
that's
just
why I used to want to do makeup, and I did makeup courses, and I wanted to do freelance, but I literally got a phobia of doing people's makeup, because I did a trial for somebody once, and they did not like it. They sent an email that they did not like it. And after that, I was like, I can't. And people will ask me all the time, and I'll be like, no, so I can't. Because if you, I just, the thought of them not liking it or not liking something is too much for me to deal with.
Well, it's rejection, isn't it? In that sense, you know, you feel rejected then, and it's like, and then I guess you could, if you're quite sensitive, you could take it quite personally, in that you think to yourself then almost instantly, they don't like what I've done, so it's like, oh my god, they don't like me now either.
yeah.
You know, and you're talking to yourself in a way where you're obviously being quite negative, sort of self-critical, and you think, god, they must think I'm an idiot, or I'm really rubbish at this, you know, I can't do it.
And I'll get friends say, oh, can you do my makeup one day? And I'll always go, no, the way you do your makeup is just perfect. I don't want to mess with that. No, not going to do it.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot, isn't there, that if you're able to do it, it's almost like they want to see what you can do, but their expectations are high from what they normally do. So they think, well, if you do it for me, because I know you're really good at it, you're going to make me look like a superstar, you know. And it's like, I might make you look a little bit better, yes, but you're not going to be like, you know, these actors are, you know, and these celebrities, because I mean, they have high-end professionals, you know, doing it, and they really know all the tips and the tricks. And then again, whatever you see on the internet or pictures, it's all like photoshopped, blah blah blah. So they do get, their expectations are quite high then,
and they're always the ones that don't really wear a lot of makeup anyway, and you're like, I you know, I can only do full-on makeup. I can't do anything else. And when I can see they're wearing makeup, but they don't wear a lot. And I'm like, you're not going to like it. I know you're not. You're going to think it's too much.
Yeah. But again, they think, oh, I'm going to look, you know, I'm going to look like,
I'm going to look, you know,
so
Instagram.
Yeah. So just have a little breather. I was going to ask what coffee you're drinking, actually. You're frozen again. Oh, there we are.
I am drinking vanilla. My vanilla espresso.
Ooh. Well, mine is nothing exciting at all. I've just got bog standard plain instant coffee with milk in.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, why is it when you go to someone else's house and they make you a coffee, it's like the best coffee you've ever had in your life?
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
If I was talking to you and you made me a coffee, it would be amazing.
Yeah. And vice versa. Same if I came to yours and you made me a coffee, I'd be like, oh my God.
Whereas I'm thinking, oh, this is.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, you know, people make me like a drink. Like, because I drink tea as well, and
Me too.
you know, I drink more coffee, but I'll drink tea as well now and then. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll have a cup of tea. They'll make it, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what tea is this?
I know.
Like, you know, it's just Tetley.
Yeah.
But funny enough, right, talking about tea, right, and being northern, because we like a bit of northern. Right, now this is really weird, and I still find it a bit weird how I can kind of tell, but so my favorite tea is Yorkshire tea, right? I think it's the best tea you can get. Others might think differently. So if anyone makes me a tea that's made from a Yorkshire tea bag, I can tell straight away.
Oh.
And I will turn around to them and I'll be like, God, this tea's really good. And I'm like, is it Yorkshire tea by any chance? And they'll go, yeah. Well, they're like, how did you know? And I'm like, I just know. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So obviously the blends that they use.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like how, I'm not saying everybody has made me a good brew. There has been people that have made me some, you know, a brew where I'm like, oh my God, it's like dishwater. I've got one client, I won't mention her name, obviously, and she probably won't be watching this because I don't think she's subscribed, but she's lovely. She's been a client of mine for years. And she loves the teas, right? So whenever I'm like, I'm there, she'll make me a cup of tea because I'll just say, hey, I'll have a cup of tea. And it'll be, she makes me laugh because she'll pour the water in, you know, the bag's in the cup, and it literally like water goes in, you know, the bag is in there for like 2 seconds, and then she'll take it out. And I'm like, no, leave it, let it brew.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, I can't be bothered with that. I haven't got time. I haven't got patience. And I'm like, yeah, but you're making me the tea.
Yeah.
It's like, can I have it like left in for a bit, let it brew? She's like, oh yeah, if you want. She says, but when I make it, I just, you know, it's like dip in, dip out. Like your toe is in, your toe's out.
Oh no.
And I'm like, really? I'm like, but then it's like milky water. And she's like,
I'm always like,
don't really like it
leave
strong.
the bag in. Leave the bag in. You know, because I like making it strong. Really
strong, yeah. Or just brewed really well.
Yeah. My mum makes a lovely cup of tea. Oh my God.
She.
Yeah. I was moaning about it the other day. I was like, no one ever makes me a cup of tea. I just find it such a lovely thing when somebody makes you a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Like, that's like, I'll put the kettle on, make you a cup of tea. And you're like, oh, yes. You know, it's such a lovely thing for somebody to do.
Yeah, it's such a sort of, no, I get it. No, I completely get what you mean. It's like it's like so caring, isn't it? It's like, it's quite a special thing, you know. It's a bit different when you go to coffee shop, isn't it? And you order a coffee. Yeah. It's like, yeah, thanks. And then, you know, you drink it and just don't think anything of it. But when you're, you know, with somebody else around somebody else's house and they make you a brew, it just feels a bit more special. It's really strange.
Nice. I love it.
Strange. It's almost like they're putting all their love into it, you know.
Yeah.
Not unless they're dipping the bag in and out.
No. Oh my goodness. But
fortunately, because I you know, I know this person really well and we get on really well. You could tell her, you know, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm like, leave the bag in, will you? And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I like it brewed. And she said, oh, I don't like mine, you know, too kind of strong. And I'm like, yeah, but that's you though.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Yeah. I'm like, you should have asked me, you know, how do you like your tea?
Yeah, exactly. How do you like your tea?
It's funny actually because generally people won't ask you how you like your tea, but they'll ask you how you like your coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Because normally with tea, it's like, oh, white and no sugar, or white and 2 sugars. Yeah. But it's not like, oh, how brewed do you want it? Because when someone asks me, I'll be like, oh, really, really strong, just a bit of milk, you know? But yeah, with a coffee, they do say, how do you like your coffee? Yeah. Yeah,
you do get asked more so, don't you? Like, you know, do you like your coffee strong or kind of medium or weak? Sugar? Do you like, you know, milk in here with this milk or that milk? And do you want some syrup?
Yeah.
You know, I've had that asked.
You know what I hate when like someone makes you like half like tea, like my sister will do this. I'll go, oh, we're making tea. She'll go, all right, yours is there. Like the tea's already like the bag's in and you've got to put your own milk in. I'm like, but that's not really making me a cup of tea, is it? I need you to do the whole thing, you know? Or we go, right, here's the milk and the sugar. And you're like, oh, right, I could have just made it myself then.
Yeah. I've had that on the odd occasion as well. Make it yourself. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, right, yes. I'm like, do you want one as well then?
Yeah. That's what I do. I end up doing all the teas myself with all the milks.
Or when I'm like at a client and they say I've done a colour for them and it's time for them to, wash it. And they'll be like, right, I won't be long. And then they're like, if you want another drink, just help yourself and make it yourself kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. This is really weird.
Yeah.
It's going to feel really weird going into your fridge because I'm going to see what you have in your fridge. To anyone else to be like, well, whatever, I'll do it. But for me, it's almost like, it's like invasion, It's like, oh, exactly and then you're like, where's the spoons? And where do I put if you're making a tea, where do I put the tea bag? Do I put it just in the bin, or do they have a tea bag holder thing?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, okay. So I just say, oh no, I'm okay. It will be fine. Unless if I really, really know them and I've known them from time, it's been the odd occasion. I'm like, okay, I'll make my own, So yeah, crazy, isn't it?
It's funny. Like I can know people for years and I'll never be comfortable with them. And then like I can meet somebody, like years ago, I met this girl. She worked on the Boots counter, Estee Lauder counter in Boots in Bond Street. And I popped in there and she made me feel really comfortable. And like, we frozen. Oh, and we just became sort of friends. And she sort of, and I was thinking about this. I was like, because I always think, is it me that makes people feel uncomfortable? Or is it, do I not know how to be around people or something like that? But I think it's the way it's like when somebody just gets you and she's like, she saw me. And I was like, oh, I don't have to be on my best. I don't have to be, on my best behavior and be really, she was just so, it's like I'd known her for years. And she's like, oh, I want to do, what's it called? That spray makeup, airbrush makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Come around and do that. That's when I lived in London. And she came round to do it. And I was like, right, do you want a cup of tea? She said, oh, I'll make it for you. And I was like, oh, all right. She was so comfortable and it made me comfortable. And that's like a big problem I have. I'm very, very uncomfortable until I'm comfortable. And then like people go, oh, you're quiet. Oh, you don't say much, do you? Oh, you're a little angel, aren't you? Bet you don't swear or anything. And you're like, actually, no. I'm completely opposite to what you're thinking. I'm just not comfortable because you're not making me feel comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And I hate that. I hate feeling not myself, like at a dinner or something. I hate feeling like, because I don't know what like, and I get so angry with myself. I'm like, oh, shut up, but I just can't be myself unless you make me feel like I can be myself.
Yeah, and this is where, being, your authentic self comes in, doesn't it? Like what kind of one of the topics we were going to kind of talk about anyway, but it's come up and it's just naturally.
It's like my biggest thing. I want to be my authentic self at all times, but I find it very difficult because I'm a people pleaser and I'll adapt to whatever that person is. So, even if I don't understand what they're talking about, I'll just sort of, whereas instead of just saying, oh, I don't know about all of that, I find it just so hard to sort of be myself. And then they have like a preconceived idea about me. Like they'll make little digs. Like I've got people that I know and there's always somebody that makes little digs like, oh, I've upset you now. Oh, oh, bet you don't do things like that, and you're just like, but you don't know me. So how do you assume that I don't swear? because I do actually. How do you, or bet you never get annoyed or cross or this or that. That's not like you. You're always smiling or whatever, and you're thinking, how can you assume that, you know? Like, I don't assume
like
you.
You know, when people are like that and sort of, you know, make those sort of comments, it makes you one feel even more uncomfortable, because like you're like, well, how do I react to that? Do you know what I mean? You know, and it's assumptions that I can't gel with that, if you know what I mean. Like, I just don't know how to kind of react to it. It's weird. It's like, it's almost like they're saying, I don't really know you, but I know you, because I'm you know, it's really hard to explain, but like, it's like they know you more than yourself, but they don't know you, and they're making the assumption, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know how to react to this, because like, I just feel really uncomfortable. You're actually making me feel a little bit small, you know?
Yeah. Or this is another thing I hate, like people that you don't know very well making making jokes at your expense, and you're like, ooh, don't know you well enough for that. I get really like offended by that. I hate that. I hate that.
Same here. Same here. Yeah. And they think, you know, they think they're being really funny, and it's like, actually, you're not. You're really annoying me.
Yeah.
Like, I feel quite, like you said, offended by that. Yeah. But yeah, just being yourself, really. I mean, it's not always easy, is it? I mean, there are people that will just be that way, just, you know, just naturally.
I think it's like, you know, almost like that person, not that they dislike you, they just don't understand you. I think that's what it is. And I can take as much as I can take, but when someone's sort of attacking my personality or getting it wrong, then I'm just like, then I you know, then I might react. But a lot of the time I'll just be like, oh, you know.
Yeah. And it's, I was going to say that when you're probably similar as well, but I've had it sort of majority of my life. It's definitely different now. Whenever, you know, I meet people, and I think it's definitely, no, it definitely has helped the fact that, you know, I do hairdressing, so it's built a lot of confidence in me with new people. Mm-hmm. There's still that element of, I guess, I call it shyness, because that's just the way I'm made up. But I have built up a lot of confidence with people, because I've met so many different people in my life, you know, through hairdressing, different characters. But when I was sort of younger, I used to get in a bit of a there was always this thing of, all right, okay, so I'm meeting somebody new, and it's like, what they're going to be like as a person. I need to figure out, you know, what their kind of energy is about, and I need to figure out, you know, what level they're on. And so once I've figured that out, then I can be on the same level as them, and I can be kind of like them. And I'm like, actually, that doesn't work. Because, you know, it got to a point I thought, you just got to be you. And if you're not the same, you're not the same as them, it doesn't matter, because you've got a completely different personality from that person.
Yeah.
There are people in the world that are really similar to yourself. And they are the ones where you were saying, where you just connect straight away.
Yeah.
And you feel like you've known them for years. I would always try and be on the same level as that person, that new person, especially. It's a bit different when I suppose, once you've gotten to know somebody, because then I suppose you do try and almost in a way get on the same level as them if you like them, because you want to really get to know them and go, yeah, I really like you. But then over time, as you've gotten to know them, then you can kind of just step back a little and be more yourself, you know.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, if you're that sort of person that thinks, oh, I need to be like them and the same, and the way they're acting, the way they're talking, and their energy levels, and because I mean, I you know, I know quite a few people, and I've also met so many people where their energy is just so up there.
Yeah.
I always thought to myself, oh my God, I have to like be the same as them and be on their level. And it's just draining, drains you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I'm not that person. I'm a lot calmer than you.
Yeah.
But if you do that and do you, I think actually the other person then appreciates that, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it almost then brings them down a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so because I mean I've had so many people, you know, I still to this day, you know, I have so many people say to me, you know, you're very calm, and you know, you're quite calming and that, and I'm like, am I really? You know, I kind of don't see it, because I think that I kid myself that I'm this ball of energy, and I'm not.
No,
not really. I have moments, you know, I do have moments, don't get me wrong, but when I really think about it, you know, I'm really quite calm, and you know, I always kind of have been really since being a child, just try and be as chilled out as possible, you know. Not to the point where I wanted to fall asleep, but just that kind of energy, because I just think, well, I think in my opinion, you know, if you're quite calm, then it kind of minimizes the stress of things and stuff, you know. So
it's like, you know, having like knowing somebody that's like always got so much drama in their life, and every time they meet, they're like, oh my God. So I just got off the phone and you're just like,
oh, believe me, I've had, you know, I've had a lot of that type of person. And again, you think to yourself, okay, I've got to be like you now and be all reactive like you are, and be like, oh my God, really? You know, like sort of, you know, get wound up like them. But actually, I find it, if you know somebody's like that with me, where they're all a bit like, if I'm calm with them, it brings them down, brings them down a notch. You know, it'll kind of just calm them slightly, and then generally after they'll go, oh, I feel a lot better now. Actually, I've gotten that off my chest to you, because you know, I feel a bit calmer, and I've just, you know, I've gotten this vibe from you that's just calms me down, and I'm like, good, you know, that's what I want, or is calm you down, you know. But generally, especially with me, people like that, it's like they know they can. It's like they know that they can be like that with me, because they know that I'm going to be reacting calmly to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like they think to themselves, right, I'm going to see Michael now, but I've got this drama that's going on, so I'm going to burst through the door and I'm going to be like, oh my God, help me, I've had the worst day, kind of thing. And I'm like, oh really? Why? You know, what's wrong, kind of thing. And then, you know, they'll roll it all off, and then I can kind of see that they're kind of just calming down slightly as they, you know, it's just
want to tell somebody.
You know, and it's, I mean, I've there's been times where I've learned nowadays as well that I don't do drama, and I've got no time for it. Whereas I used to think to myself, maybe I should kind of try and get involved in the drama, because maybe kind of fun and exciting.
But actually, interesting. I know.
No, it's not. It's just stressful. It's draining. It's not worth it. You know, especially these people that are just a bit too melodramatic, and it's like, if they were to stop and just think about what they're doing, and you know, is it worth it? You know, is it really worth being that way? You're just using up too much energy, you know.
Yeah.
And they moan and say,
they'll kind of say, they want to hear about you. They go, oh, but tell me all about yourself. Well, tell me all about, and you're like, yeah, but you've obviously got lots to get off. So why don't you? And then you just don't. You feel like not even like saying, because there's not enough room for it, you know.
Yeah, the best is when they, you know, you sort of just generally chat with somebody. Oh, how have you been, and what have you been up to? And they reel off this story of what they've done, and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then they go, how about you then? So what have you been doing lately with yourself? And I'm like, nothing really.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. And it's weird because you kind of, I don't know if they're expecting you to tell them of like this crazy story about what you've been doing. Like, oh, I've been here and I've been there and I've done this and I've done that. But I just laugh at myself now because I just go, no, not really done much, to be honest. I mean, don't lead that much of an exciting life. I kind of used to, I suppose, back in the day, want to lead a life like everybody else that does all this exciting stuff. But actually, no, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to force myself to do it,
Yeah, exactly.
If I've done something exciting, then I'll say, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh my God, I haven't got anything exciting to say. But then I'm like, it doesn't matter though,
Yeah.
Because then I'll quite happily just listen more to you than, me talk about what I've done,
Exactly.
So, yes, it's people are just, they're interesting, aren't they?
They are.
They can be very interesting. Unfortunately, there's people that just, just not for us at all. But kind of, I don't know if you're the same. I was sort of, there's times where I kind of wish that everybody was kind of similar to yourself. But I don't know. That'd probably get annoying.
I think we're very good at reading people, I think, and kind of reading the energy and sensing the energy, like, when someone's a bit off or someone doesn't really gel with you, and you just sort of think, well, you can read them and read the room.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think a lot of people can. There are people that can't read other people.
Oh yeah.
But no, I'm quite good at that with others. I think it's more so as well, just having met, so many different characters, and
that's it. Yeah.
It's like I just know how to deal with the certain types. Without it sounding like, oh, he thinks he's a professional now, does he? I'm not, I'm not a people professional type, you know what I mean? But it's like, because I suppose, that you get your main types of character, just in general. And just through my career, I've met them, and there were times where I'd be like, I don't know how to deal with you, but then over time you then do, and it's like, okay, I've got this, I've got this crazy lady to deal with, but it's like, well, I know how to deal with you,
Exactly.
So I'm just looking at what else. I think we've talked about quite a bit already. It's sort of covered most things, I suppose. Yeah, we have actually. I wanted to just maybe briefly talk about, like being younger as a child. I just wanted to sort of touch on like what we were taught as children, which is expected of us now as adults. I think about that quite a lot, and it comes up a lot as well, what we were kind of taught. So is there anything you can kind of think of that really has just stayed in your mind?
I suppose, well, yeah, being polite, doing as you're told, not answering back. That's one. But my dad,
more the manners thing.
like my dad is not strict now, but when I was younger, he was very strict. And it was like, if you were naughty and it was like, oh, wait till your dad gets home, you'd be like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but you'd never, what you'd get away with your mum, you'd not get away with your dad.
No.
So yeah, I think it's always sort of like, I think that's where my people pleasing comes, because I just can't seem to not stand up for myself, but say what I want to say sometimes, because you're kind of stuck in that child phase.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't get out of, and it's like you'll moan about it afterwards, but when they call you not, and you're like, yeah, what, you know, yeah, sure, brilliant, and then afterwards like, oh, no, I can't, no, why did I say yes, you know, because I just can't. It's the disappointment thing, I think it was what it is. I find really difficult. Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing that, you know, we were told or taught to, you know, have the manners, be polite, be respectful, you know, don't answer back and all that. It's not a bad thing, but, and I think this is just my sort of opinion, but I think nowadays it's not really taught so much as it was.
That's the thing. Nowadays there's like zero manners.
Yeah.
And children are answering back or not saying please and thank you, which I'm always like, oh my God, you know, I'm always please, thank you all the time. So when child doesn't say that, I'm like, and the parent just, you know, then I just think, oh.
Yeah, I definitely think sort of, you know, our generation, you know, generations before, sort of completely different in that respect. So it you know, it isn't a bad thing, but at the same time, when because it's ingrained into us, I guess, you know, and you're using that in this day and age, and you get kind of backlash from it. It's quite hurtful in a way, isn't it? Because it's like, God, I'm being as, you know, as nice as I can, you know, as polite as I can, but then you're being like that back to me in a really kind of horrible, rude way or whatever. And it's just, oh God, I hate that. I really do. Because it almost, again, it's like, you know, rejection, isn't it? You feel like you're being rejected, and it's like that person's sort of like, you know, the way I think of it is just like, well, you know, why are you being so nice to me and so well mannered? You know, it's, oh, sorry. Sorry about that. But that's what I was kind of, you know, taught. What about, so like your classic things of, you know, like when you were at school and you were taught that you have to do as well as you can in life, and, you know, it's that whole thing of you need to make sure you get like a really good job when you're older, and, you know, how do you sort of feel about sort of that? Like,
well, I mean, I was never a studious type, and at school I did theatre arts, and I was quite, you know, quite crazy at school. Like, you know, I went to an all-girls school. First of all, I went to primary school, which was mixed. It was horrible because, you know, my mother's Swiss and my dad's Iranian, so I'm kind of mixed, and everyone in my school was English and didn't understand why I had a different name and, well, you know, where I came from, and I hated it. Then I went to my secondary school, was international, so everybody was from all over the world, Japan, the Middle East, and my name wasn't strange because everyone had strange names, and it was kind of more comfortable and mixing for me, and I could be my true self. But the thing, I never, my parents never pressured me to get good grades, or, you know, you have to, you could be whatever you kind of wanted to be. And I always wanted to be an actress, you know. And I was very good with like talking, acting, all of that sort of stuff, but I'm not very good academically. And I couldn't like chemistry and history and physics, and maths. I just couldn't do it. I was sent to so many math tutors, and I just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It just didn't, they couldn't understand. Why can't you understand this? I just couldn't understand. You could, you know, I went to like family friends to tutor me maths, and they'd lose they'd get so cross because they couldn't understand why they couldn't get it. Look, they'd be showing the sum and I'd be like, I just don't get it. And even like in maths class, the teacher would get so annoyed. She'd go around and ask you the answers to the numbers of your homework. And I could never do the homework because I couldn't understand it. So I'd just pretend that I did it and blurt out random numbers. I'd go, 64. Well, how did you come to that? And I'm like, because I didn't want to say I couldn't do it or I didn't do it.
No, I was exactly the same. I mean, can't believe how similar, we are really. Like I was exactly the same in school. And I think I do. And I don't know, there must be research into it, the sort of academic side of like your brain and your creative side of your brain. And I think just there are people that are just more academic and more that are creative. So it means
I think it's a visual thing.
Yeah.
We're very visual.
Yeah.
So you can show me how to do something and I can do it. But if you told me how to do it or wrote it down, I'd find it very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was the same at school. I mean, I wanted to do, I really wanted to do my best. I mean, I was a good student. I was well behaved, and I did what I needed to do at school, and I actually quite enjoyed learning, but I struggled quite a lot in maths, especially in English. Science wasn't too bad because I think I was kind of quite interested in that. The only part of science I didn't like was physics. I couldn't get that either.
Yeah.
Because I think physics, in my mind, was similar to kind of maths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, there's, although kind of whatever, like formulations and numbers again and all that. So, yeah, I used to sort of, struggle quite a lot. And again, it was like they expected you to kind of know, and you would just look at the page and think, I really don't get this. I don't know how.
I'd failed my maths exam every year, and the academic dean would bring me in his office and say, right, you can do the exam again in my office. And I said, but I'm still going to fail it. Doesn't matter how many times I do it. I couldn't understand how you're supposed to study maths for an exam. And how are you supposed to learn it? And I had this really funny math teacher, and I used to write on my maths paper, I know I failed, or I probably failed, but I spelt failed wrong. And he corrected the failed in red writing.
That's brilliant.
I used to say, he was called Mr. Rip. And I'd say, Mr. Rip, can we do fractions but with biscuits? And he'd be like, I'd go, I'd learn so much better if we used biscuits.
Gotcha.
He did fractions with biscuits. But
oh really?
Yeah. I was so naughty though. I was always like, I don't know, why do we need to know this? I don't need to know this.
Oh no, I wasn't like that.
It's stressing me out, and he used to see me in the hallway and go, are you stressed? Are you stressed today? Oh my goodness. My school was insane. My school was
it?
Yeah. I loved, you'd have to do maths every Thursday. I'm not even religious, but you'd have maths. And I used to love getting on the podium on the microphone. And you'd have all the people sitting, and I'd go, good morning, everybody. So today's reading, and then I'd be told off for being silly, and I'd be like, but I'm just trying to make it fun and enlightening,
I think that's what element was missing from a lot of things in school, I guess. I think with creativity, if you're a creative person, that to you is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if it come to the academic stuff like your maths, your English and whatever, I think that's why I didn't really mind so much science, except obviously physics. I mean, there was still
isn't it? You're more doing.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is it. I mean, science is sort of, there's a lot of kind of practical stuff in science. I know there's practical stuff in physics as well, but I think the reason why I didn't enjoy that too much is because I wasn't really sort of interested in that. Again, I couldn't understand it so well, but like, you know, your chemistry, your biology, there was that element of kind of fun to it, really. You know,
I like biology.
Yeah. See, my favorite was chemistry. And as soon as we could get those Bunsen burners out,
and the color changes,
oh god, it was good fun, you know. And you get like, I mean, I was well behaved, so I would just, you know, I'd do my thing, set it up, make sure, you know, it's all safe and blah blah. And then you get the other students, you know, with the sort of, because we'd all light ours from each other's with, you know, the long thin bit of wood. So you'd go around and get a bit of, you know, the flame so you could light yours, and you get, you know, the cheeky misbehaved ones sort of, you know, burning loads of bits of wood and doing little, you know, fires on the desk. And oh my god, you know, the teacher would be going around going, shouldn't be doing that, and you know, getting a bit like, oh my god.
I loved my biology teacher. I loved her. See, this was the thing. If I liked my teacher, I liked the class, and I loved her. She was brilliant.
Oh yeah, that makes a massive difference, definitely. I think, I mean, majority of my teachers were, I quite liked them. There was the odd one or two. I mean, I do remember one of them, one of my geography teachers. I mean, this was when I was doing GCSEs, and I didn't really want to do geography, but the thing is, we had a choice between geography and history, and by the time I kind of decided I wanted to do history, because actually I'm more interested in that. It was too late. All the kind of spaces had been taken. It was like first come, first serve. So I had no choice but to do geography. And in a way, I kind of wish I kind of listened a little bit more, because actually I do find a little bit of it. There is a bit of interest in geography. It depends what it is. But again, my teacher was so boring. Oh my god. It was just, it was so boring, geography. Honestly, we didn't literally do anything fun. And even like, we would do the odd going out thing. You know, because it's to do with, you know, reading a map and stuff. Even that was boring, because he was
sediment thing. The sediment of a river. Oh,
yeah. So
my teacher did not like me, and I didn't like her. So
I think the best teachers for me were just, again, more the creative types. You know, your music teachers, your science teachers, because I think,
the eccentric ones.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? I did find it's some of the science teachers were quite quirky in their own way, but they'd be like, well, I don't blame you for being quite quirky, you know, because whatever you do is quite fun, really. So it definitely made a big difference with you know, who your teachers were, just what they were like. So right, I think
we could sit here for we've gone 1 hour and 8 minutes.
I know. I mean,
we could sit for like 2 hours.
Oh god, easily. But I do think we need to sort of end it at some point. Anybody that's still watching, they would have probably had enough by now.
If you like a long video, that's a long one to put on in the background.
Well, this is it. This is what I think to myself. I think, well, you know, I don't want to have that kind of pressure of, we'll just do half an hour, because it's not going to work. I was just like, go with the flow, you know, however long it is, so be it. And if whoever wants to watch it through, they can, or have it on in the background, or you can split it up, you know, and watch a bit.
And then give us in the comments, like, you know, topics, you know, that we can talk
exactly about. So yes, we'll end the video here. So whoever has watched us all the way through, or just watched the video anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And thank you very much to Shaz for...
Thank you
It's a pleasure. Thank you. It was good fun. I always enjoy our chats because it makes us feel better, gets things off our chest, and just, you know, things that are relatable.
Yeah.
Helps both of us and other people that are watching. So
Absolutely.
yes, again, thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe to Shaz's channel. I will put the link to her channel in the description box below. And then anybody else that's new here that's watching mine and my mum's channel, then again, feel free to subscribe because it's free. So that's it from us. Take care, everyone. And we'll see you all again soon.
Bye.
Bye.